Hi, I'm Mike Dano with Light Reading, and I'm here with Shawn from Microsoft. And Shawn, you've got a lot of stuff to talk about here at this show.
Yeah, it's been a great show so
Yes,
far.
it's been a very busy show, that's for sure. And so I wondered if you could. So let's take the 30,000-foot view here about what Microsoft is doing here at this show. So Microsoft, had some big acquisitions. It acquired Affirmed Networks, it acquired Metaswitch, and then it had a major deal with AT&T for the AT&T Network Cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're a couple of years past those acquisitions, right? You've had some time to sort of digest them and put them into the Microsoft way,
Yeah.
I guess if you would say.
Yeah.
So what's the outlook now? I mean, are you guys ready to hit the ground running? Are you ahead of where you had hoped to be? Are you behind from where you had hoped to be? You have a new carrier deal that you've announced here at this show. Kind of where are you guys at in the broad scheme of things?
Yeah, so we're super excited about the acquisition still. The basic thesis behind them was to bring in some of the early market leaders in cloud native software. So the Affirmed and Metaswitch were selected specifically because they were leaders in software-based solutions in this space. Since acquiring them, we've continued to expand their capabilities, but also more importantly, bring them in and turn them into Microsoft first-party products.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has standards for how things are built into the dev pipeline, how things are built into security. That takes time to move that software over and conform to that. They were fine before, they just weren't Microsoft. Now they're Microsoft products. So the Affirmed packet is now packaged as AO5GC, which is the Azure Operator 5G core.
Okay.
We've got Metaswitch, which we continue to sell and actually embed components. For example, we have a product called ACG, Azure Communications Gateway, which is essentially a cloud-based version of the perimeter SBC we use. In addition to that, obviously the AT&T Network Cloud we've been operating for a few years now and continues to run big chunks of runs AT&T's 5G NSA implementation. That's not a product we take to market commercially. So essentially, AT&T's Network Cloud software has been replatformed again to Microsoft native software, and that's what we take to market as Nexus. We're super excited that Etisalat has selected us, both AO5GC and Nexus, due to their next generation 5G SA deployment. Now, in terms of where we are within the industry, Microsoft's never satisfied with where we are. We always want more.
Okay.
But we continue to be the leader in terms of, we feel we're strongly demonstrated we're the ones that people can trust with their software deployments and their network cloud deployments for tier 1 operator networks. Our deployments are the primary deployment. They're for the 5G core. They're not enterprise deployments. They're not backup networks. They're not smaller networks, which, by the way, are all great use cases, and we're working with people on those as well. But people trust Microsoft to run their core network, which is very important to us, and was the thesis behind us making the acquisitions of all the software packages. We understand what it means to run telco-grade software because we have it in-house, and it beats the heck out of the platform. And then we have big customers like AT&T and now Etisalat, who has some very unique requirements in terms of how they view security, also honing the platform. And that's what that actually meets the needs of what we had when we did the initial investment thesis.
Okay, so it sounds like the platform is ready to go. Like you're adding customers to it. What should we expect from Microsoft for the rest of this year, into next year? I mean, are you now sort of in customer acquisition mode, having sort of digested these acquisitions, created this product that is now ready to go to market?
Yeah.
Do you have some targets that you're looking for in terms of racking up additional customers, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Again, we've focused less on proof of concepts and less in sort of proving out the model and more on large-scale production implementations, and that's what we're going to continue to work with market leaders to find those opportunities to execute at scale. The other thing you should expect, and not surprisingly, is we made a very public statement about the value of AI and the fact that we're infusing AI throughout our portfolio. And so some of the other announcements this year have been around, for example, you may see the work we're doing with BT, where we're introducing voice fraud detection in the network itself, so essentially voice phishing detection. That's fusing the power of AI and the cloud together with the network to deliver a service that protects some of the most vulnerable citizens. So similarly, our AI ops capabilities, so essentially using Azure Operator Insights to be able to capture and manage carrier-grade volumes of data. Remember, carriers throw more than a petabyte a day of data. Azure itself processes 130 petabytes a day of data. That breaks most tools. We've taken those tools from Azure and turned it into something operators can use. That gets you the baseline data control. On top of that, we've added the automation features by linking Copilot into that infrastructure, so you can use Copilot to use natural language queries to the data, interface with your OSS systems, interface with your ARM systems, and start to use the power of AI to help manage the network. Now again, it's called Copilot, not Autopilot. So in other words, it's helping the operator manage the network.
Yes.
It's not Skynet. It's not taking over the network and running behalf of the operator. Essentially be more precise on that. Because a lot of people there's a lot of stuff floating around what gets done.
Yes.
There's a basic pattern. If you think about it, typically a network engineer that gets an incoming problem spends about 20 minutes surfing 4 or 5 different OSSs, and then out to different manuals, errata sheets, websites, just trying to research what's happening, and then spend about 2 minutes fixing it, and then they'll spend another 20 minutes documenting it. AI can work on both sides of that problem. AI does a very good job, the Gen AI stuff, of helping the operator diagnose a larger corpus of data quicker, coming up with a number of suggestions that they can implement, and then suggesting potential changes that then they can select from, thus fixing a little bit faster, but getting sort of the long-term research. And then in the background, it's good at turning that into a readable transcript of what occurred, so the documentation stuff goes faster. So if you think about it, you now have your operations staff focused on fixing the customer's problem versus doing the research and the documentation piece. And that applies to NOC personnel as well as customer service reps, as well as collection reps. So that's a pattern that we see being super useful. There'll be way more cool stuff with AI, but that's where some of the early opportunities sit.
Okay. And last question is that, so, you've got this product, it's ready to go, it's, branded Nexus, it's in the market now. Do you think the timing is right in that our operators continue to are they still looking for these kinds of products now? Is this the right time for the Nexus product, or has that time already passed? Have they already made their decisions for core network?
No. So I don't believe so. Obviously, you'd always like to be there faster.
Right.
Always like to be there faster.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks have made sort of their initial choice at 5G SA deployments. That's true in sort of part of the world. In another part of the world, they're still in the process of making those decisions. At the same time, we see people analyzing where they want to go with, most people upgraded to 5G NR somewhere in the 2019, 2020 timeframe, which means about 7 years later, they're going to start replacing that gear. So about now and next year is when they're going to start thinking about that next cycle of replacement. So now's a good time for us to have a conversation about the use of cloud technology to support the RAN.
Okay.
On the SA side, as people are looking for monetization opportunities, I think a super important stat to remember is that Microsoft partners make $9.82 for every dollar in platform spend. As carriers are talking about monetization opportunities, there's a proven monetization model over there. You see folks like Vodafone, the recent announcement we did Vodafone, where they're starting to home in on that, saying, hey, we're not performing at that level right now in our partnership with the operators. We would like to work closer with them to get them to the level where they're seeing the returns other Microsoft partners are. The use of cloud technology obviously impacts that, right? When you don't spin the meter, it's tough to get the ecosystem engaged.
Right.
So this is a chance for us to work with the operators to see where relevant application of the cloud technology might help them build out their aspirations to monetization. The use case I mentioned with BT is a great example of that, but that's one. There's going to be tons more.
Okay. All right. Last question for you. Here's the bonus round. Is that you're a former Verizon guy, right?
Yes.
But you landed that big AT&T deal. So how did a former Verizon guy land the big AT&T deal for Microsoft?
So one, it was Verizon was an awesome company. I learned a lot. But I worked with Microsoft before in that role. And so I had a chance to work with them. So it was a great opportunity to come over, and I really strongly believe in the transition to cloud technology. I was a big champion of that when I was at Verizon. The reason I was able to work successfully with AT&T was, listen, it's all about the reason we bought Affirmed and Metaswitch, and the reason we brought AT&T was all about having that telco DNA. Being able to understand the unique needs of the operators, to be able to understand their challenges, and come to them with real valuable solutions versus, hey, tell me your problems, I'll go find something to fix it with. And so the conversation we could have with the AT&T team was very grounded in understanding, developing a common vision for where the industry needed to go. AT&T was a big factor in sort of how we worked together in establishing our initial product vision, being able to have that understanding and work together. It was less about relationship and more about building a realistic TCO model and about building a realistic plan for how you do the transition to cloud. So it's awesome to have relationships. On the flip side, having technology that actually has a TCO model and a business case, and having technology where you've got a vision of where it's going to go that's accretive to their view of how both they're going to drive operational efficiency and future product monetization, probably was a bit big of a factor
Right, that
in the
helps.
win. So,
All right.
so and again, they were great to work with, right? Strong vision, early industry leaders.
Yeah.
So it was a great synergistic effort between the two of us.
All right, there we go. Shawn from Microsoft, thanks so much.
Thanks very much.